Okay, of course, I'm going to keep quiet.
All right. It's that time to get into the papers, the headlines, big stories, freshly pressed is what you are listening to on a Feel Good Friday morning here on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. 31 minutes past 7 a.m. Ayokunmi Kekirekun here with you. And it's going to be a very interesting discussion, interesting show this morning. Interactive as always. So you know what that means? That you will have to join us on WhatsApp. The number remains 0911 999 0981. 0911 999 0981. Also join us on YouTube where we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right. It's a full house this morning. Yes, indeed. If you're on YouTube, you'll know exactly what it is I mean by that. Anyways, joining me to take a look at the stories as per the usual on a Friday. Bozimo, and of course, Joseph Obari.
Good morning. Great to join you, and wonderful to have an esteemed person amongst us on a Friday, Mr. C.
Good morning, Joseph. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Abi. Good morning, Mr. C. I don't know. I didn't know whether I get your name right.
Yep,
Good to see you.
Mr. C.
And welcome, listeners.
Mr. C on a Friday morning, August visitor in the month of August.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Joseph.
He chose not to go to Japan. he made a choice to stay with us. Thank you, Mr. C.
You're welcome.
Very much appreciated. All right, AB, let's begin talking about one of the big stories that has been going around in the last 24 hours or thereabouts, or less than 24 hours, really. From the Guardian, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, said the structural rehabilitation of the Third Mainland Bridge here in Lagos will cost more than 3 trillion naira. Speaking after the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, Umahi said underwater and structural assessments of the bridge revealed severe damage caused by illegal sand mining, erosion, and corrosion to its piles and piers. Now, he says that the rehabilitation is estimated at 3.8 trillion naira, while a complete rebuild would cost 3.6 trillion naira. And he further says that, I'm quoting, we have approval for at least 7 specialist contractors to carry out detailed investigations, designs, and bids for both rehabilitation and new construction under an EPC plus F, that's engineering, procurement, construction, and financing arrangement as well. AB, one of the big stories that broke, and it has everybody a buzz as to, whoa, what is going on here?
Let's start on the lighter note. I saw somebody say rehabilitation 3.8, repair 3.6. How much to Kuku remove it? Now, that is, people are just shocked at the amount. But the fact is, that bridge has gone through quite a bit. If you look, there have been many times when you're driving on that bridge, and if you have ever been stuck on the bridge, the way cars pass those expansion joints, you can tell that something is amiss. You shouldn't be hearing clicks and bangs as you're going across. And a lot of money has been spent before now. You've had situations where traffic is diverted to one side, they do some repairs and all that. But I guess they decided to try and look at the root cause of the problems going underwater,
Right.
and have discovered that this very support system is damaged due to sand mining and the rest. Looking around that area, I knew when that bridge was opened, I was one of the first people to drive on it. When you look at the estates that have developed right near it, you know that some people have managed to get some of their material from there. Not all, maybe, but some of it. And the currents in the lagoon, it has all affected the stability. So now we have a potential public disaster where portions of that bridge could collapse. And they're looking at it in the big picture. You don't want that to happen. The bridge is very significant. It carries a ton of traffic every day to and from the island. It's a major piece of significant infrastructure in Nigeria, and indeed across, I think it ranks among the top 5 or top 10 longest bridges in Africa. So it's not a small thing. I don't know whether it's the entire bridge they're trying to fix or around that Ilubiri area. Whatever the case, they're about to investigate. It's a whopper in terms of money, and they're thinking of having some private financing coming in. My question is, an investment of private finance, what does the person get out of it? I'm just curious. Yeah, the EPC plus F model can work. Are you going to toll the bridge after for the person to get? I'm just curious. Why would I, as a financier, just come and pay to fix a bridge in a city in Lagos? Are you going to get political favors? What exactly is the trade-off to get this private financing in? It can't just be bragging rights. So the bridge has to be addressed, whether they will choose to repair or renovate. And I'll tell you, renovation often costs more than brand new work. And so that's why I'm not surprised that the repair is costing marginally less than the, as they called it, refurbishment. But I don't think Lagos at this point can survive without that link. It's a useful link for millions each week or month at least. And we're going to have to find a way to put this into our financing plans. And there are other bridges across the country, in Taraba, in the Abuja, Lokoja area. There are many, many other projects that are also, penciled down for financing. The question, as Mr. C always asks, is how will these be financed? Because we're already crying about lack of money to do anything except fly far away to places like Japan and Brazil.
Right. AB has asked a very important question here. I mean, how exactly is this huge, huge project really going to be financed?
Yes, so before I answer AB's question, as part of the story, and I encourage everyone listening to look for the story and read it. Carter Bridge also has a problem, a major problem, because Julius Berger has recommended that it be rebuilt because it is beyond repair. So there are three main bridges in Lagos State. You have Eko Bridge, you have Carter Bridge, you have Third Mainland Bridge. Eko was built between mid-1960s and the mid-70s. So my question is, if Carter and Third Mainland Bridge already have serious issues that have been identified, what are the chances that Eko doesn't also have similar issues? Remember, Eko and Carter are parallel. So whatever is affecting Carter is almost likely to affect Eko. Now, to address the question of financing, clearly we're going to borrow. Let's not deceive ourselves. There's a 4 trillion naira debt owed to the Gencos, legacy debt in the power industry that has not been paid. But luckily, or fortunately, the finance minister presented a proposal for payment to the Federal Executive Council at its meeting on Monday. I'm not sure what the final conclusion was. So it's clear that they will have to borrow. Now, if a contractor finances, to answer a further question he asked, for him to get his money back, it's one of two things. You either allow him to toll, or you issue a bond in his favor. You issue promissory notes in his favor, which he can cash in. That is the only way it will make sense to any investor, any financier.
Right. Thank you for that, Mr. C. Joseph, do you have a word or two to chip in where this actually is concerned?
I think the experts have spoken.
Very well said. All right, Joseph, let's step into the Guardian here and talk about the federal government, who have inaugurated a new national skills program aimed at connecting 20 million young Nigerians to jobs, training, and entrepreneurship opportunities by 2030. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, made the announcement at the inaugural board meeting of Generation Unlimited Nigeria, that's GenU Niger, held at the presidential villa in Abuja. And he revealed that at least 60% of the program's beneficiaries were expected to be women. Interesting initiative coming out here. Joseph, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, we know every administration comes up, there are programs for youths and so on. You had the Empire, you had this one, you had this one. And at the end of the day, the critical question is, why is it that we still have youth that are underserved by the country in many ways? They can't find employment, they don't have the requisite skills and so on. Now, like the vice president put it, said the young people are facing trilemma. That's it's not two dilemmas, not two choices, but three different challenges that they are faced. And he identified them as skill gaps, foundational skill gaps, livelihood disconnect, and infrastructure deficit. Yeah, so why is it that these foundational gaps have always existed? Because those who come up with programs do not really research them properly and ensure that they serve the purpose for which they are establishing the initiatives. So it's
Right.
just a matter of political purposes. We are doing something for youth. At the end of the day, these young people go back home. Maybe if just a few people in most of these government programs are able to build themselves out of poverty, have meaningful employment, establish small businesses on their own, which should be the goal. But when there is lack of focus and people are just doing things or sabotaging the process, even the program, to start with, not well researched, not thought out programs, then even when the funds are brought for it, people sabotage it by diverting the fund or getting other people who are not interested in the initiative to even benefit. Then of course all we do is hand our money to some people. That's what we do as a nation. So it's good to speak all the very brilliant English. And then we are never tired of finding the cause of our problem in Nigeria. I mean, every sector of Nigeria, we all of us know brilliantly what is wrong with it. And so even when we set up programs or ideas, bring up policies that should address those issues, that's where the problem is. So brilliant idea. We've seen so many brilliant ideas. At the end of the day, it's all lies in the political will to do the right thing, being faithful to the implementation, and ensuring that the benefit actually gets to young people and it can leave them and make them reposition them, because the world is global. It's global, and they are competing with their peers all over the world in many ways. So if we are not taking care of these young people, we are actually sabotaging the future of this country. And the problems will multiply and keep multiplying and multiplying. So let it not be that, elections are coming in 2027, the youth are a critical demographic. So let's just do something to seem to be addressing the needs of the young people. But that there is genuine intention to solve the problems. If so, all the problems that have been highlighted as the challenges facing youth are things that government should be able to fix. But over time, we've seen that there's never been any sincere will to solve those gaps or those needs. So brilliant ideas how to link the needs to what the needs to the people or the skills that are being created and so on, and catering for women and reaching out to women and so on. Fine, very fine ideas. My concern has always been how sincerely, how faithfully do we keep to implementing these brilliant ideas?
Now hold on to that one, Joseph. AB, you have a comment to make about this.
On this story, I must say, I do like the description or definition of Gen Unlimited, Gen U. I like that. And I love the coining of the word trilemma. This may have nothing or little to do with the major part of the story, but I do like the elegance of those two constructions.
Okay, so very quickly, one point. I agree with everything Joseph and AB have said. And I think the major problem.
Mr. C, your voice, please.
I agree with everything Joseph and AB have said.
Thank you.
And I think the major problem bedeviling Nigerian policy has been long-term sustainability. So we're not short of starting programs or policies. It's the sustainability over time. Just let's go back for each administration since independence. I'm pretty sure each one of them has had some version of this skills program. Yet we keep having to relaunch. So the bigger problem is not starting. How do you sustain the vision? How do you sustain the goal? How do you sustain the dream? That is the critical issue here.
That is the critical issue. And you just wonder, are we going to get it right? I don't know. Anyways, let me take a message here from Ajayi Olonidua on WhatsApp, beg your pardon. He says, last time it was Carter Bridge and now it's Third Mainland Bridge that needs repairs with astronomical costs that are even higher than the cost of building new ones. And coming shortly, after the humongous amounts used to renovate the International Conference Center in Abuja and the budget for the renovation of the Murtala Mohammed Airport Terminal. One wonders where these monies will actually come from. You already know. You already know. I know where your mind is going, so yeah, just leave it at that. All right, AB, let's step into the Daily Post here. And this is interesting. The United States government has approved a possible foreign military sale to Nigeria of munitions, precision bombs, precision rockets, and related equipment valued at $346 million. The approval was contained in a statement from the Defense Security Cooperation Agency dated August 13th, but received via email on Thursday. Now, the agency said it had notified the U.S. Congress of the potential sale. A number of different things here, but some of the things that jump out for me, okay, well, number one, the money is involved. Number two, more importantly, if you go back in time and think about the purchases that we've made of military hardware, planes, and so on and so forth, you take your mind back to 2022 to Kano jets and all that. What good use have we put all these things to? It's not a case of once, twice, and all that. And you think about scandals as well, Dasuki Gate and everything in between. Ibi, walk us through this one.
Now, I'll start with the money. That translates to about 520 billion naira. And we have 704 local governments. I am the avowed announcer of terminate all terrorists. So we do need to equip the army. We do need to make sure that when terrorists like Kuruji or whatever his name, or all those brand new brands of terrorists appear, they should be obliterated because they're affecting Nigerians' lives. However, I'm asking myself, is this kinetic the only way to go? Not because you don't want to equip the army, but if you were to take that amount and not buy arms, and instead send it to the local government, each local government will get about 670 million naira. Would that money actually affect, imagine just a local government, not just a local government. I don't think there's any local government that has too many millions. So if that money went into creating jobs and infrastructure and educational things, solarizing schools, making sure water is potable water is connected, would that not have a positive effect on the quality of lives of the people there? So as much as we do have security pockets of disaster that we have to deal with, but I am saying it seems we're so ready to make this big purchase. Why don't I hear the kind of big preparedness to invest in building people at the local governments? And yes, a key line I read in the story was that the US has made a statement that this will not negatively affect America's, balance of power in the region. So as much as they're selling us this, they're making sure that in no way are we now going to get our heads above the fence. We should stay in our place, which is their right. Now we they buy, now we they ask, now we they beg. I am just saying, as a nation, when I hear this kind of big expenditure, I want to hear it directed to healthcare, to education, to IT infrastructure, and so on, in ways that will manifest in the lives of the people, like Joseph said, who are competing against the world. This world is a global village. You cannot say just because you're in Nigeria. You have to be up and doing at a level that is internationally acceptable. So when you have these schools that have no doors, no roofs, no floors, no tables, if you put that money into refurbishing all the schools, for instance, look, we have what's that thing? An out of school children's problem. Do you know that if we just had a magic wand and we said, okay, all children go back, we don't have enough classrooms. We certainly don't have enough teachers. They are not rewarded properly. So again, we do need to equip our army to deal. I don't want to hear one story of one soldier or one policeman harmed by a tacky terrorist. That is not, I am completely a hawk in that regard. But I am just saying, to conclude, that I want to hear similar amounts or even much more directly spent on the people. And in that regard, I go straight to the state governors. They have gone from having 700 million or so in a month to having 1.7 billion, or maybe from billion to trillion, one of those, it's by a factor of 700 to 1.7. What are they doing with that money? Because when you look at it, the FG cannot be responsible for the street outside my house not being properly drained. That is between my governor and my local government chairman. So what are our governors doing with their increased allocations? And
Right.
so, yes, the FG is in charge of, defense and all that. I have to concede that. But our local government and our governors are not doing what they should do for us.
Okay, so let me quickly add this. It's a good thing we're looking to buy weapons to strengthen the Nigerian army. But the bigger question here is, I hope this will not go the way of the Tucano area platforms, which we bought and for very unknown reasons we're unable to use as we want to. So let's hope that as we're buying all this ordnance and equipment, we'll also have the freedom to use it when we want to. That's all.
Right. And let's also hope that the ordinance and everything do not end up in the wrong hands. There's also that to think about.
Sorry, let me just throw this in. So if we are buying all this ordinance, why are we talking about repentant terrorists?
Why are we talking about what? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Repented terrorists, reformed terrorists. Let's decide what we want to do.
Mr. C, you're asking too many questions. You should have gone to Japan and left us here.
Let's talk about the APC.
Ayo, your voice.
Your audio. Ayo.
I saw this particular story and I had a good laugh. I don't know whether I should have. But anyways, from the Daily Post here, the Federal Court of Canada has upheld a ruling that classified Nigeria's two major political parties, the All Progressives Congress, the APC, and the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, as terrorist organizations while denying asylum to a former member, Douglas Gareva, over his decade-long affiliation with both parties. In a judgment delivered on June the 17th of this year, Justice Fongo dismissed his application for judicial review after the Immigration Appeal Division found him inadmissible under Canada's Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, IRPA. Joseph, what does this mean in essence?
Well, it really doesn't mean anything. It's just that they have prevented a Nigerian from staying in Canada. But the significant message here is to our politicians that they should know that the world is watching. Yeah, so that these things they do actually have consequences. This was a case where the individual himself, maybe he felt it was going to help his case to say, I belong to the Nigerian major political party in Nigeria, APC. I was only member of PDP. So maybe he thought that was going to bolster his case and then make it legitimate for him to stay. But they forget that each of these countries have representatives in Nigeria as ambassadors. They have their embassy, their high commissions, and so on. And they are collecting information. And they said they were relying on intelligence that was acquired in Nigeria regarding how elections were conducted as far back as 2003, 2004. Then national election and also local government elections. And they cited the fact that those elections were marred by deliberate introduction of violence, ballot stuffing, and so on. Acts that by their own laws can be described as terrorism. So it doesn't lie with you alone to decide how things can be interpreted. It should send a clear message to our police. I mean, we've had situations where, last time it was the chief of defense staff who was refused Canadian visa. Yeah, because he wanted to go to the same Canada. They say, sorry, you can't come, sir. You cannot. And say we speak all the English, we're angry and all and through tantrums and so on. But the people have their reasons. I just say, sorry, you cannot come. They gave the visa to those they felt were needed to be there. The other people there, and it could not be anything other than their assessment of the role of the chief of defense staff in some of the things that are happening. They may not come out to say for diplomatic purposes, they will not tell you exactly why they felt they should not give him. But what they do, some countries like United States, Canada, and some other countries do, they punish you. If you're a public office holder and you are abusing your office, they take note of that and they find a way to send a message to you. So this should be a clarion call to our politicians. It's not just the Nigerian citizens may not be able to do anything to you because you own the system. You have created a systemic way of entrenching yourself imposing yourself on the people by rigging election, by making sure that the people's vote don't count. But some other person somewhere is watching, and they will find a way to bite you.
Hmm. All right, thank you for that, Joseph. AB, have a word to chip in here.
Clearly, the song Canada by Magneto didn't appear to influence this gentleman's appeal. So I just think Joseph has put it well. It's just a pity that they can be held accountable seemingly only outside our shores. That's just the pity, because they committed these acts evidently, and others have seen it. But here we thus far seem helpless. I don't know for how long we'll remain helpless. The day of reckoning might be nearer than they think.
Yes, indeed. All right, let me speak a message or two before I come back to you, AB. I'll see if we can get the last story in real quick. Emeka says, why is Nigeria purchasing arms from America when they keep absorbing so-called repentant terrorists? Exactly what Mr. C was asking. Tell Americans we don't have terrorists, but we have repentant ones. He then says, APC and PDP are now designated as terrorist organizations. No wonder terrorists in Nigeria are ruling some local governments in the north. Rexy from Surulere says, I see where AB is coming from, but if bandits decide to raid a school and cut away students, will the solar power health center or an IT center stop them? Perhaps no one-size-fits-all solution. Getting ordinance is an option. Well, I mean, AB did say...
I stated that it is imperative to equip the military to terminate the terrorists. And I didn't stutter. I'm saying that when we have that kind of expenditure, we should also hear news of big expenditures on the thing. And I'll add that if you do set up the situation where the local governments and states are functioning, I think you'll have less of a pull factor from the bad characters. There'll be more for people to live for, and they may actually have a way to point out the bad characters and isolate them. But that's just me. But certainly, we must equip our military. Waiting.
Most definitely. All right, maybe let's see if we can sneak this one in very quickly here from the Punch. The federal government may extend the 2025 budget into 2026 as slow capital project implementation, procurement delays, and a shutdown of the cash planning portal have left many projects stalled about 8 months into the fiscal year. This wouldn't be the first time something like this would happen anyways, but AB, let me just let you walk through this very quickly.
We have this cycle of rolling budgets that keeps going on. And from this news story, it's about to continue. At some point, we really do have to draw a line. There might be pain because there are projects contractors are borrowed for. There are timelines attached to projects. When you extend the timeline without the proper contracting, is all about cash flow. If you're not paying contractors, the contract is automatically being extended and it costs more. Time is money in contracts. That said, we cannot continue to have amorphous budgetary framework where you are in 2025, you are working on 2024 jobs, you are financing from 2026 projects. That is not the way to go. We have a president who has a history and a reputation in numbers. And we have some fairly competent people around him, the people who are paying off debts and all that. And we actually have seen a recent rise in our Forex reserves. So numbers in and of themselves are not the problem. I'd like to see a better management system. In truth, though, there were people who were trying to take advantage of the system and game the system. And this is also targeted at, closing the loopholes in that system. It's a numbers-rich story. It's one of those that you could go and look at yourself. There are merits to it, but there's a lot of suffering going to happen on the part of many contractors who are caught in this grind. There's always a meat in the middle of a sandwich of regulation and authority. Somewhere in the middle, someone suffers.
And it's, just what I want to say is that this is a kind of digital system. There's, because from what you're saying, it's computer based and so on.
A
I
portal,
think there are
yes.
always ways in which you can improve on these things. And if somebody is not supposed to load anything, then it can be done. You can prevent it happening. So that you don't repair or tell them come and hold a meeting first. Since May, nothing has happened. You're holding up the
Honestly.
system. So inefficiency, that's simply we're not managing the budget efficiently. That's simply the story.
Bottom line.
All right, let me take your messages. Let me start on YouTube. This is Peter Onosa says, "Higher stealing. You spend over you intend to spend over 3 trillion naira to repair a bridge. In Nigeria, corruption has been made a lifestyle. How much did Babangida use in building the bridge? I love the Canadian judgment on the APC and PDP." Well, Peter, I mean, the Third Mainland Bridge was built between 1976 and 1990. That's a very different time from
Yeah.
where we are right now. A lot of things are different, and I'm pretty sure, AB, when we look at global best practices, maybe bridges built around the world of similar length, quality, and all that magnitude may not exactly be 3 trillion naira, but there's still a substantial amount of money involved, if I'm correct.
I think the lesson learned from this should have been to prevent the people who were attacking the foundations in the first place. The fact that you can see vehicles parked with sand, if on the bridge looking down, you can see it. So it was something happening in full view. That preventive measure would have avoided this. So,
and what's the guarantee that it won't continue after you've rebuilt
exactly. If we don't take care of the root cause, you can fix, and then in another 10 or 15 years, you come back to, you have to stop the problem where you are eroding the foundations. It's a structure. It doesn't float. It stands.
Okay, so quick point.
Mr. C, I can't hear you.
So quick point. In all of this, the minister...
I can't hear you still.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now. Yes, please.
Better.
So in all of this, the Minister for Works did not provide alternatives. So when these proposed repairs and rehabilitation works commence, what are the good people of Lagos State supposed to be doing? How are they supposed to move around? What are the alternatives?
Yeah, the alternatives are very important. Yeah, it's talking about the alternatives, and that's a major issue. Yeah.
Well, I do want to believe that this is still, should I say, in the works and all that. I want to really believe that the question of the alternatives and so on and so forth will be factored into this project, because we all know, like we mentioned, how important the Third Mainland Bridge is to everyone within Lagos. I remember a couple of months ago, the bridge here from Abadu Bello to Bonny Camp connects to the area was closed for one day, and everywhere
one evening, and Lagos shut down.
Was completely upside down. Now, just imagine a whole Third Mainland Bridge, being reduced in its capacity and so on and so forth. So
a lot of remote work will start immediately.
Mr. Minister, that is something that you need to take into serious consideration. There's no ifs or buts about it. Barrister Danukuda says the kind of money that are being bandied for repairs are mind-boggling. Compared to other countries, the cost of embarking on similar projects are usually low. Something must be wrong with us as a people. Well, once again, I don't think the costs are as low as you actually might be thinking. It's a huge bridge when you think about it. Gilbert Musa says, on the proposed budget for ammunition purchase from America, like Mr. C rightly said, what is the outcome of the previous ones that were purchased? This reminds me of the helicopters the Lagos State government purchased in 1998 to fight insecurity in the state. Till date, we don't know the state of those helicopters. And Ade in Lagos says, when you build your government on lies, propaganda, and eye service, it won't prosper. It's clear like daylight that the foundation that brought... Okay. Thank you, Ade, for your message. I will leave it at that. All right. Thank you so much for all the
Third Mainland Bridge happens to be the second longest bridge in the entire African continent. It's a significant project. Let's not joke with it.
There you go. All right. Thank you so much for all the messages and keeping it tuned to Freshly Pressed. Always a pleasure having you on the show and reading your messages as well. Thank you so much to the three fine gentlemen that joined me this morning to take a look at the stories in Bozimo, Joseph Obari, and of course, Mr. C. AB.
You guys have a phenomenal weekend ahead. All the listeners, do what you do, get some rest if you can, and spruce up for next week. Stay here.
All right.
Don't go to Japan. Don't go to Brazil. Be with us.
So, Joseph, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to be here, and this has been a very rich discourse, and I'm sure that our listeners are always benefited from all of this, and their contribution showed that. So it's been a pleasure being with you, gentlemen. Mr. C, I really haven't met you. This is the first time I'm seeing you. It's good to meet you. Ayo, thanks a lot for a great job, and everybody have a wonderful weekend and stay safe.
All right. Thank you so much, Joseph. Mr. C, wrap it up.
It was a great privilege for me being on the show with two fine gentlemen, and I can only wish all of our listeners a peaceful, restful, and enjoyable weekend. Let's get ready for next week with everything it brings. Take care.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Mr. C. And hey, keep it tuned to the Smooth Breakfast. This is Smooth 98.1. The locker room comes up at 8:50.